Greetings. Welcome to third episode of Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. Today, now we are talking about law number 16, 16th law of power. Use absence to increase respect and honor. This law is use absence to increase respect and honor. In a world where we are constantly surrounded by people, voices, and distractions, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to step away. Robert Greene, in his book, The 48 Laws of Power, he presents the 16th law. Use absence to increase respect and honor. This principle is rooted in human psychology. When something or someone is always available, they become ordinary, they become cheap. But when they are absent, their value increases. Too much presence makes a person common, while strategic absence, it creates intrigue, longing, and admiration. Imagine a famous artist whose paintings are easily accessible. Over time, people stop valuing their work as highly. But if that artist suddenly disappears from the public eye, their work becomes rare and its value skyrockets. The same principle applies to human relationships, social dynamics, and professional success. When people see you all the time, they take you for granted. But when you step away strategically, they start appreciate you more. A great Indian example of this law, it can be seen in the classic Bollywood movie Mughal-e-Azam of 1960. In this movie, it tells the story of Prince Salim and Anarkali. Prince Salim, the son of Emperor Akbar, he fell deeply in love with the court dancer Anarkali. His love was intense and it was persistent. But Akbar's opposition created a forced separation between these two, love and lover. The absence of Anarkali only made Salim's love for a stronger, turning his affection into an obsession. However, when he went to extreme lengths, even waging war against his own father, he lost everything. He lost everything, including Anarkali. This story teaches the same lesson. Absence can deepen longing, but if taken too far, it can lead to irreversible loss. In relationships, both personal and professional, people decide what they cannot easily have. A lover who is always available loses charm, but one who knows when to step back keeps the fire of attraction alive. A leader who is always present may be overlooked, but one who is seen only at key moments, he commands respect. Even in the workplace, an employee who is indispensable but not always present will be valued more than someone who is always available but easily replaceable. This law teaches the power of controlled withdrawal. When used wisely, absence increases respect, absence increases admiration, absence increases desire. But it must be intentional. Vanishing without having built value first, it will only lead to being forgotten. The key is to create scarcity. not distance to be missed, not ignored. Knowing when to step back and when to return is what separates those who are remembered from those who are overlooked. So, according to Robert Greene, absence increases respect and honor. When something is always available, its value diminishes. Too much circulation makes the price go down. This is true for people, this is true for ideas, and this is true for even love. If you are seen and heard too often, you become common. Familiarity breeds indifference, but when you withdraw, even temporarily, people notice. They wonder about you, they talk about you, and suddenly your value rises. Everything in life depends on balance of presence and absence. A strong presence, it can attract attention, but too much of it, it makes you ordinary. Think of a great leader or an artist or a celebrity. When they suddenly disappear, the world starts missing them. Their absence creates curiosity. Their absence creates admiration, even a sense of mystery. But those who are always in the spotlight, always talking, always appearing, eventually lose their charm. They become predictable. People take them for granted even without realizing it. This secret is knowing when to step back, when you withdraw at the right moment. You force others to respect and appreciate you more. Absence creates value. Absence creates value through scarcity. When something is rare, people desire it. This is why historical figures gain legendary status after their time. The moment someone retires or even dies, they are instantly admired. People remember only their greatness. The same applies in relationships. In the beginning, distance creates excitement. Lovers long for each other, but when someone is always present, the mystery fades. The magic disappears. In today's world, where social media constantly exposes every detail of our lives, mastering the art of absence, it is more important than ever. We flood the world with our images, with our thoughts, and with our presence, making ourselves too accessible. But look at those who choose to disappear for a while. They return stronger. Their absence makes people appreciate them more. They build intrigue. And demand respect. Powerful people understand this law very well. They do not make themselves too available. They create demand for their presence. When someone depends on you, they value you. But if you allow yourself to be taken for granted, your influence weakens. The moment you feel others treating you as ordinary, just step back. Let them experience your absence. Let them feel what it's like without you. And when you return, your presence will be stronger than ever. But this law only works if you have first built a stronger presence. If you are unknown, absence will not help. You will simply be forgotten. First, establish yourself. Be seen, be heard, be appreciated. Only then does does your absence create power? The world of economics, it teaches us this too. Scarcity increases value. The world of economics teaches scarcity increases value. The rarer something is, the more people want it. In 17th century Holland, tulips became a symbol of status because they were made skates. A single tulip became more valuable than gold. The same principle applies to your own skills, knowledge, and presence. If you make yourself too available, people stop valuing you. But if you create a sense of rarity, your worth increases. Life is a game of balance. Too much presence and you become ordinary. Too much absence and you are forgotten. The key is timing. Step back before people push you away. Make them miss you. Make them wonder about you. When you master the art of absence, you command greater respect, you command greater honor, and you command greater power. So this one is 16th law. Now let's turn to law number 17. 17th law of power. Keep others in suspended terror. Robert Greene, in his book The 48 Laws of Power, he lays down a fascinating principle in law, that's 17th. Keep others in suspended terror. This is not about instilling fear for the sake of cruelty, but about mastering unpredictability. People find comfort in patterns, in predictability, in knowing what comes next. When you break that pattern, you force them into a state of unease, making them constantly guess your next move. And in this uncertainty, you hold power. In this uncertainty, you hold power. Imagine two warriors standing face to face. One moves predictably, following a set of rhythm, making it easy for his opponent to counter every strike. The other is erratic, sometimes aggressive, sometimes passive, or sometimes attacking from an angle no one expects. Who has the advantage? The unpredictable one. The unpredictable one. Because his opponent is constantly trying to read him, anticipate his moves, and counteract his strategy. But how can you fight an opponent whose next move is a mystery even to himself? This is exactly what happened in 1972. This happened in 1972 when chess champion Boris Spassky, he faced Bobby Fischer. Spassky was a master strategist, a player who could see dozens of moves ahead, someone who thrived on predictability and control. Fischer, knowing this, he disrupted the game before it even began. He delayed his arrival, complained about the venue, the lights, the chairs, the cameras, anything and everything to throw Spassky off balance. When the game finally started, Fischer continued his psychological assault, arriving late, making uncharacteristic blunders, and then suddenly unleashing a brilliant, devastating strategy that completely unsettled Spassky. Spassky, a man who was used to controlling the game, he suddenly found himself controlled. The fear of the unknown, the constant hissing, the the mental exhaustion, it broke him. He lost not just a chess match, but his very confidence. He started believing that Fisher had hypnotized him, that his chair was poisoned, that something supernatural was at play. In reality, it was just the power. In reality, it was just the power of unpredictability. The lesson is simple. Predictability is a weakness. When people know your next move, they control the narrative. But when you keep them guessing, they are the ones playing by your rules. In business, in relationships, and in negotiations, and even day-to-day lives. Those who master unpredictability, they keep the upper hand. They hold the upper hand. The trick is not to be erratic without reason, but to be just unpredictable enough that people hesitate before making a move against you. Think of the most powerful figures in history. They were not the ones who simply followed the rules. They were the ones who rewrote them. For example, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Muhammad Ali. They all understood this. Ali, he would predict the round in which he would knock out his opponent and then deliberately change his plans. Steve Jobs, he would keep his competitors and employees on their toes, never revealing his plans until the last moment. Then Elon Musk, he shifts the landscape of industries before people can even grasp his end game. Unpredictability. It is not chaos. It is controlled mastery of perception. When people cannot predict you, they fear making the wrong move. They overanalyze, they hesitate, they second guess themselves. And in that moment of hesitation, you strike. Be deliberate, be strategic, and never let others pin you down. In a world where everyone is looking for patterns, be the exception. Be the exception, and you will never be at anyone's mercy. Instead, they will always be at yours mercy. So, that's the 17th. Now let's turn to law number 18. 18th law of power. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Robert Greene, in his book The 48 Laws of Power, he presents 18th law. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. This law speaks a powerful truth. The moment we cut ourselves off from people, we invite vulnerability, not safety. The world may seem full of enemies, and the instinct to retreat into a fortress, whether literal or metaphorical, it feels like the safest choice. But in reality, isolation exposes us to more dangers than it protects us from. It blinds us to crucial information, makes us an easy target, and weakens our ability to respond to threats. Circulating among people, building relationships, and staying connected, it shields us better than any war ever could. Those who retreat into solitude often lose touch with the source of their power. They stop hearing the whispers. They stop hearing the whispers of opportunity, the murmurs of danger, and the currents of change. When you isolate yourself, you may think you are in control, but in reality, you are surrendering control. people, especially those in creative field, they prefer solitude when they work. Artists, writers, musicians, and thinkers, they often thrive in isolation. However, prolonged disconnection from society, it can lead to detachment. You may wake up one day and realize that while you were lost in your work, the world around you has changed. Your allies have moved on, new power structures have formed, and opportunities, they have slipped through your fingers. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that isolation makes you stronger when in fact it weakens you. History has shown this. History has shown that even the greatest rulers understood the importance of staying connected. Louis XIV of France, he built a grand palace. He built a grand palace of Versailles, but he did not lock himself away in a fortress. He surrounded himself with his court, keeping a close eye on his nobles, ensuring that no conspiracy could form against him without his knowledge. Every morning he met with hundreds of people, military officials, advisors, and even distant relatives. He made sure to see, he made sure to listen, he made sure to understand what was happening in his kingdom. His power came not from wars, but from his awareness of the people around him. Now, you may not be a king, but in your own world, you hold power. You hold power, whether as a leader, as a manager, as a parent, or as a student. Your influence depends on your ability to interact with others. The moment you cut yourself off, you become vulnerable. Power does not thrive in solitude. It thrives in engagement. It thrives in engagement. To stay strong, you must listen, you must observe, and you must connect. Even if you prefer working alone, do not let isolation become your weakness. Stay in touch with the world, even if it is just by observing, listening, and keeping your ear to the ground. A fortress may seem like the safest place, but in the end, it becomes a prison. The key to power, the key to success, and the key to survival is not in building walls, but in staying connected to the world around us. Step out, engage, and stay away. Because the moment you isolate yourself, you hand over your power to those who remain in the ground. Now, let's talk about Law 19. Know who you are dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. There is an old saying, never wake a sleeping tiger unless you are ready to fight. Robert Greene's the law number 90. The law number 90. Know who you are dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. It is built on this very principle. Life is not just about what you do. It's also about who you do it to. One wrong move, one miscalculation in reading people, and you might find yourself in a war you never intended to fight. Imagine you walk into a battlefield blindfolded. You do not know who is friend and who is foe. You do not know which opponent holds a sword and which one holds a mere wooden stick. Would you survive? Probably not. Life, business, politics, and even personal relationships, they operate on the same principle. Some people will ignore your offenses, others will make it their life's mission to destroy. History is filled with stories of men who underestimated their enemies and paid a heavy price. Look at Napoleon Bonaparte. He underestimated the Russians in his invasion. He thought they would surrender. They would surrender like others. But instead, he met a force of resilience and winter that crushed his army. Then there is Julius Caesar. He miscalculated the envy and ambition of his senators. They seemed like allies, but they were sharpening their daggers behind his back. In personal and professional life, the same law applies. Some people have fragile egos. Others have the patience of a snake waiting to strike at the right moment. Some people are powerful but forgiving, while others are weak but they are vengeful. The trick is to recognize who is who. Think of it like a chessboard. Every piece has a different level of power and a different way of moving. The king moves slowly but is the most important. The queen is the most powerful but needs protection. The pawns seem insignificant, but they can turn into queens if given the right path. If you treat every piece the same way, you will lose the game. There are generally three types of people you must be careful with. First one, the vengeful. The vengeful type people. These people never forget an offense. They may not react immediately, but they will wait. They will wait for the perfect moment to strike back. They hold grudges like a coiled snake waiting to bite. Hurting their ego or disrespecting them publicly, it will turn them into your silent enemy. Then we'll see the second type of people, the insecure type. They may appear weak, but their insecurity makes them unpredictable. If they feel threatened or humiliated, they might act irrationally, spreading rumors, forming alliances against you, or pulling you down in unexpected ways. So that is the second kind of people. Now third type of people, the powerful and influential type people. These people have the resources and the network to make life difficult for you. Offending these people carelessly, it can close doors to opportunities you never even know they existed. So, what's the strategy here? Observe before you act. Watch how people react in different situations. Test the waters. Make small moves to see how they respond. Choose your battle wisely. Some fights are worth it, others will only drain your energy. If you make a mistake and offend the wrong person, don't let ego stop you from fixing it. A simple act of humility, it can prevent a lifetime of trouble. Robert Greene's law, 19th law, it is not about fear, it is about intelligence. Power is not just about strength, it is about knowing when to strike, when to stay silent, and when to walk away. Life is a game of strategy, and those who You play smart, win. The next time you are able to challenge someone, take a step back. Take a step back and ask yourself, do I really know who am I dealing with? So that's the important 19th law. Now let's move to law number 20. Okay? Do not commit to anyone. This law is about maintaining your independence and flexibility. Robert Greene's law number 20 is 20th law. Do not commit to anyone. It teaches us the power of independence. It's easy to get caught up in relationships, causes and sides, especially when the world is constantly pushing us to take a stand. But Robert Greene, he warns us not to rush into these commitments. The fool is the one who gets trapped by the pressure to choose sides, while a wise person understands the true strength of autonomy. When you commit to no one, you hold the key to your own power. People are drawn to those who remain elusive, and this attraction works in favor. By not giving in to anyone or anything, you create an aura of mystery and desirability. The world will pursue you, trying to win your attention, your affection, and your loyalty. But here is the secret. As soon as you commit, the magic disappears. The magic disappears. So you become just like everyone else. Think of the Virgin Queen Elizabeth I. She was a master at keeping her distance while letting others chase after her. People were desperate for her commitment, and that desire only increased her power. When you refuse to commit, you make people work harder to win your favor, and that effort brings you even more respect. Your power grows over time, not because you demand it, but because people are desperate for something they can't have. But this doesn't mean you should push people away entirely. The goal is not to be completely cold or uninterested. No. It's about creating that fine balance. Show interest, but never go too far. Encourage attention, but keep your inner distance. Never let yourself feel obligated. The moment you allow someone to think they possess you, you lose all your power. By staying aloof, you make them feel that they need to prove themselves to you. Desire is a force. Desire is a force, and people are often drawn to what others desire. If you can manage to remain a little out of reach, others will start to see you as even more desirable. They will want you because everyone else wants you. The more you state this desire, the more power you gain, as others are constantly striving to be the one who wins you. Now, this strategy is not about playing games. This strategy is not about playing games just for fun. It's about staying true to yourself. When others try to drag you into their quarrels, don't get caught up. Stay neutral. Watch as the fight unfolds. And when everyone is exhausted, you will be in a position to make your move. And if you are really smart, you will even still the conflict yourself and offer to mediate. This way, you stand as the solution, gaining even more power from your neutral stance. You must be in control of your emotions. Don't let compassion. Don't let pity pull you into other people's struggles. You can listen, you can offer advice, but never let your emotions be hijacked. Keep your energy and your peace by maintaining a healthy emotional distance. By refusing to commit, you hold on to your autonomy, which gives you the power to choose your moves rather than reacting to the world around you. But remember, this strategy requires kindness. If you take it too far, people will start to see through. They start to see through you. If you leave too many suitors waiting, their desire will turn into frustration, and eventually they will move on. And while you may feel like you can play this game forever, there may come a time when you have to make a commitment for the sake of appearance and practicability. Just remember, even if you commit, the key is to keep that inner independence. Never get too emotionally involved. Always preserve the option to walk away if things go south. By committing to no one, you retain your power. You stand above the fray, independent. You stand above the fray, independent, and in control of your future. Your freedom is your greatest asset. And as long as you can keep it, you will be the one others seek to please, not the other way around. Thank you so much. We'll meet again in the coming session. Thank you.